Hello everybody, welcome back to Burnt Church. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's a windy day here and pretty cold. I think it was around 32 this morning. Pretty cold day. They're giving rain coming in tonight and tomorrow and possibly turning over to snow. I don't know, we'll see. As cold as it feels right now, there may be snow. Anybody that's new here, leave us a comment of what country or what state you're in. We'll put a pin on this map for you. It's just to see how far out in the world that we're reaching here on YouTube. I think what we're going to try to do today is some onions and cabbage with some electroculture. We had pretty different results last year with the electroculture. That was the first time that we had tried the electroculture. So we're going to start out with it this year. On these onions and cabbage, on the seeds in the pan that we're starting with, we're going to start them with some electroculture in it. I tried this at the end of last year with some cabbage and I had a failure. I didn't get any of the cabbage to survive to see if it done any good or not. So we're going to start out this spring with electroculture. I don't know if it'll make any difference or not. This will be our starting place. We'll just have to find out from here. I know on some plants last year, I seen what looked like a big difference. And on some plants, I didn't see a whole lot of change at all. And we're going to start them in some pretty rich soil. I'll show you what we're going to start them in. We're going to get some of my worm castings and mix with some seed starter. This is what my worm bed's looking like. Quite a few worms. There's quite a few worms. Yeah, I believe the most of them is over here around this cardboard and leaves. This is the first time I've collected any out of these. We'll look at it a little better over here when we get it under some more light. Alright, we'll take this over now and mix it with our seed starting mix. So we got quite a bit of worm castings here. And it's pretty damp, but it's not just real wet. I think we'll be able to use it. My seed starting mix, it's pretty dry, so I think by the time we mix these together, that will be about right, I believe. Now this is pretty cold. We're probably gonna have to use a seed mat on it to warm the soil up some. Right here's what our worm castings is looking like. Now there's a few worms left in it, but I'm not really concerned about them. They'll get transplanted out into the garden. I've already cleaned my flat out. I've disinfected the inside of it from last year. Now this flat here don't have any holes in it. I'm going to have to be real careful about watering in this flat. So what we're going to do is put this in here for the base. Some pretty little worms. Don't know what they taste like. That's going to work out just about right. I believe we're going to have to collect just a little bit more. It ain't hardly as deep in there as what I want it to be. Y'all hang with me for just a second. I'll get a little bit more to put in here. I've changed my mind. We're going to go with this for the worm castings. And then I've got some of this soil, this stay green flower and vegetable garden soil. We're going to mix a little bit of that in here as a filler. And it's real dry. It's been in the shop here since last spring. So that should help dry up our damp worm castings. This will make our worm castings go a little further. Those worm castings, that's all we've got of them, so I want to try to make them go as far as I can. I still want to get the good fertilizer that they offer, so I've got to mix it pretty well heavy with the worm castings, but I think this will work just fine. Now I didn't get all the cocoons out of this, so we'll probably have baby worms in here. But like I said, they'll go into the garden, and they should help the garden. If I was guessing, I would say that's probably close to a half and half ratio. Probably half this and half worm castings. It looks good and rich. When you squeeze it, it kind of stays together. So it's got some moisture in it. Now then, like I said last year, I try to do a real thin layer of this seed starting mix. And I put some water in it a few days ago, and I believe it's going to be just about right. It's not real dry, and it's not just soaking wet either. We're going to add our ElectroCulture to this right now. We're going to do a little different style than what I done last year. What I've got here is about almost 4 foot long. We're going to fold that in half. So once I get my piece bent in half, I'm going to come up about 6 or 8 inches and put a bend in it. Now I'm going to wrap it clockwise. I know that looked like I was going counterclockwise, but when you look down at it, it's twisting clockwise, like it's drilling down into the soil. And when you look up at it, it's twisting clockwise. Once I've got this bent, I'm going to separate these two out here at the bottom, like so. We're going to put them in the soil right here, center ways. I'm ready for some of this seed starter now. I'm going to sprinkle a thin layer of the seed starter on. We're about ready to start planting some English peas. As old timer told us one time, you need to have your English peas out January the 13th, here where we're at. We're in West Tennessee. Almost Middle Tennessee. We're right on the verge of West and Middle Tennessee. I think we're in zone 7. Alright, I've got a thin layer of the seed starting mix. Now I'm going to kind of mash it down flat. Just to kind of smooth it out. On about 1/3 of this, we're going to do Copenhagen Market cabbage. I always try to do more than what I think I would use. Usually, part of them won't come up. And when they do come up, something happened to part of them. So it's always best to try to do a few more than what you think you really need. These were packed for 2023, so this will be a year old for these. I don't remember where we got these. Morgan Seed Company. Now we've got a few different varieties of onions here that we're going to put. This one right here is a candy F1. Best I can remember, it's a sweet onion. It's coated seeds. We're going to do some of them here. These here's red Grando onions. They're coated also. This is some I need to get used up. They're getting fairly old. I don't know how long really I've had them. And then this one here is Walla Walla. and they're coated. All right, I'm gonna get some stickers so I'll know which one switch. I couldn't find any regular stickers, so I made some here out of a piece of poplar. This is the red grand. This one's the F1 candy. This is the Copenhagen market cabbage. And these are the Walla Walla. I'm just going to do a thin layer of this over top of them. Now I'm going to just lightly pack it down on the seed. The things that we could have coming to our country this year, I think it's going to be really important to grow your own food, which I always think it's going to be really important to grow your own food. But with some of the things that could happen in the country and inflation going pretty wild, food prices have just went outrageous. And if we can grow more food to feed ourselves with, that's going to help with bills that we have to do for lights, water, gas, anything that we can offset to help pay on some of the bills. Insurance prices has just went wild. Our car insurance, our house insurance, our health insurance, it's all just went up dramatically the last few years. And it's about to get to where we can't keep up with it. We've got to shave cost in other places, and this is one place that we can shave some of our expenses. That was one of our goals this year here at Burnt Church, is to start trying to raise more of what we eat and eat more of what we raise. And this is just falling right in line with what we've been wanting to do. We don't by no means grow and eat half of what we consume around here. If we could get to the halfway mark, I would be really impressed. Our goal would be to get to like 80 or 90%, because this day and time, I don't think there's anyone that raises 100% of what they consume on their homestead. If we could just get to the 50% mark, that would be wonderful. And at night when we eat supper, I try to look at my plate and see what's on there that we raised here and what we've had to buy. And it's gotten to where most of the time there's at least one thing on that plate that we raised here. My battery went dead on me, and I don't know where I got to. But we've got these watered in here now. This is lukewarm water. That ought to help bring the soil temperature up. We're going to put it on this mat right here for seed starting. And that should get our temperature in the soil up pretty quick. Take time this year, put a seed in the soil and grow you something to eat. There's only good benefits from growing something good to eat. Most things that you grow is better for you than the things that you buy. We've got this watered. It's ready to be put over here in the window and let the sun shine on it and let that heating mat warm the soil up. These things will be sprouting, we hope, here before long. I thank you for watching. I pray God blesses you, and I'll see you in the next one.